I mean, I've said it several times. I mean, this is one of my favorite teams to be around right now. No matter what you throw at them, they respond. They love football. They work really, really hard at football. And they give you everything they have. It's a fun group to be around, fun group to coach. That hasn't changed.
Who, in your estimation, has had the greatest gains during the offseason? Has it been the offensive line, the receivers?
I mean, a lot of guys have had gains, the offensive line will be much better than it was a year ago, but not where it should be yet. I mean, Aaron Montero was a true freshman last year. He's just getting ready to become a true sophomore. Really mature, good lines, mature in their redshirt junior years. That's, when we, first 2 years we had a veteran older, we implanted a couple of fifth-year guys, with Ian Silverman and Matt Patchett, who were really good football, ended up being pro football players. And we were strong, we were really strong. And I've said it several times, I really don't need to repeat myself, but when you have 9 guys that should be fourth and fifth year players in the front, that's how you keep your deal going. When you have to replace that from one extreme to the other, that's what happens, okay? Well, now we got the right guys there, but you gotta mature them. There's still a big difference between an 18, 19-year-old kid and a 21, 22-year-old kid. Am I happy with who we have? Absolutely. Are we gonna be better? Absolutely. Are we where we're going to be in another year or so? No, we're not, because it takes a while to mature a veteran offensive line. The next position that's a lot like that is quarterback. We didn't have an older quarterback in this program, okay? The oldest guy we had was Darius Wade, who took no snaps. So, he gets hurt, and, now you're transplanting in freshmen, redshirt freshmen, and walk-ons. Well, I just read an article with Jimbo in Florida State article. You're not doing, that's not going to happen. Your best hope with that is maybe a redshirt freshman that came in early, Darius, then support him with a veteran offensive line and veteran players to hold that. But when the line's not that way and then the quarterback's not that way, you can't fix that quick. Now you got to saturate. So Patrick's here and Darius is back. They've both had a great offseason, a great spring, and they're having a really good camp. So I'm happy with that, and that's the only way we could plug that void, okay? And now we have Anthony Brown and John Fadul in there, and those guys can saturate the way you should and grow and develop. And then, in a perfect world, you've got Patrick and Darius. Patrick's got this season, Darius has this season plus 2 more. And then you have Anthony Brown, who's been here in the winter, then he's going to be here in the spring, he's going to be here in summer camp, he's going to be here for the year. And you got another saturated guy. You've got John Fadul, who by fire got some playing experience. And now you're starting to build, some quarterbacks that you hope you'll never be faced with that, of course, barring injury, which you can't predict. You hope that you won't be faced with the 2 most critical positions for that to happen to again. And when your program's right, I remember Coach Beamer at Virginia Tech when I first got to Syracuse. When your program's right and you've been there and you've recruited and you've recruited your classes properly, the only time it can get you again is if you had a bunch of guys leave early. So we had a big senior class and a bunch of guys leave early. That's the only way it could really get you again. Otherwise, you should be able to roll that thing over reasonably each year, okay? And that's the goal. We will be able to do that now as we move forward. The only thing we have to do now is we've got to mature this group up. This is a heavy, filled with true freshmen, redshirt sophomores. And, but having said that, they love football and they compete. So that's fun. I really like it being around it. And they're going to win their share of games because of flat love of the game, toughness, and everything that goes along with it. And then exactly, we're going to be better at each one of those positions, right, than we were 1 year ago. That'll happen, okay? And it's got to be better enough, but it'll be better. There's no doubt. The offensive line will be better. The quarterback play will be better. The kicker play will be better. Although I didn't see that today. But I've seen it all spring and I've seen it all camp. as short as we've been here in camp. And so a lot of those areas are shored up, you know, and I feel real good about where we are defensively. We have some really good personnel. This is a personnel-driven game, okay? That's what it is. I mean, you know, so we got good personnel there, and they're older and they're seasoned. Because why? Because we started building it there first. Because the whole emphasis of our program, my philosophy coming here was, you start with building your great defense and playing great defense. Everything is done with a plan. It's not this herky-jerky that sometimes I think people think it is. It's not. Okay? So you recruit that way, you put your best players there, and you filter them, and you build your system. And the way our roster was built, here comes the offense now. Now we're going to have to do this with the offense and grow incrementally, which we're going to do.